So let's take a little bit deeper dive into drawing details. I've got an area down here on the southern property line that I want to show the detail for this cabin, shed, barn setback. So I've drawn a dashed rectangle around it. Let's go ahead and create a detail. I can specify the size I want, and then I'm also, in addition to putting the detail scale up there, in caps I'm going to say required setbacks. Okay, let's go ahead and OK that and drag this up wherever we want it. Can just take a look at what we've got here. So let's go ahead and edit this and get exactly what we want. Now the easiest way to do this is to put the cursor anywhere over this group. So this detail has become a group in Traverse PC's parlance. I'm going to edit it. Editing says I get to treat it like individual objects now, so it's real easy for me to drag that deck in there, or drag the shed over here, or the barn over here, cabin over here. Okay, and then I can say, you know, in addition to that, I've got some other things I want to put in here, but really, if I could have this thing be a little bigger, that would be better. So I'm just going to double click it, and let's say I want 150 feet to the inch. Okay, so I've just made it a little bit bigger, and I think that's a good thing. Now, I want to put a setback from this corner down to this line. I could go in and edit the group like you saw me do when I moved the text around, but I want to show you something kind of neat about Traverse PC and details. I'm going to tell it I want to draw a dynamic offset, and I'm going to press E for end. That's the snap command. Now, if I put the cursor over any part of this group, I get the group. But the very bottom line of the tooltip says hold Control to select individual object. So I can hold the Control key down, and now I get that line. Well, the neat thing about that is that now that it knows I'm actually adding the offset to the detail, it's treated it like I'm editing it, so I don't have to hold down the Control key. I can actually say end, pick the end point of that one, or P, hit the perpendicular of that one. Let's change that and see if I can hit the perpendicular there. Okay, so now I've got the perpendicular offset for that. I'm going to zoom in just a little tighter here, and you can see that I've set this up the way I want for the drawing settings. So I've got, under dynamic offsets, I've got this little slash. It could be a little bit longer. Okay, I've got the thickness the way I want. I've got the font size that kind of matches here, so everything looks good. Now it's still a detail, but again, I can hold that Control key down and just drag that text over a little bit. So I've got really everything I want. Now I want to add an offset from this corner as well. So let's just do that again. Draw, dynamic offset, go to the end of something, but it's selecting the whole group, so I hold down the Control key. Now I get just that line. P for perpendicular, we'll pick this one. Okay, now this text for the distance is part of that group, so I'm just going to hold down the Control key. That lets me select the text. Whoops, let's try that again. There we go. I just had to hold the Control key right. I'm going to kind of position it so it blocks out just what I want to block out. And now I've got the dimension here for the dynamic offset. I've got the dimension over here for the dynamic offset. And I really didn't have to even edit the group again. I just did that randomly. Now the last thing I want to do is I want to say some text in here that says all setbacks met. And I'm going to add some text. So let's go ahead and edit this. So I'm not snapping in this particular case. So I need the group to know it's being edited at the outset here. And I'm going to say all setbacks met. So now I've got this text in my detail here. I can drag around where I want. When I'm all done, I press enter, tell it I'm all done. So here's my detail now, annotated with dynamic offsets, some text that says all setback requirements met, and I'm going to just change that into an italics so it looks kind of like what I want. There we go. And I'm got the detail exactly the way I want it in very little time, and it really kind of makes these details fun to do again.